Once again, hello everyone. I'm Jacob Young. This is Rio Sports Live Network here from Luke Fruia, Buick GMC and Cadillac. We're talking sports here. It's going to be an interesting show. Of course, we're going to talk a little bit of World Cup soccer. We're going to talk. Well, a lot of news has actually broken. So this is a big news day in general, and it's normally not that big of a news day in general. But today is something very different because a lot of stuff has broken. Of course, we had the College World Series to get to the semifinals here last night. Excuse me, which is really fun. We have Red Crowns news, of course, to cover. They unfortunately got defeated for the first time this season against the number one team. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about their game that was last Wednesday as well, and what is to come up for that team in general, as well as a lot of things that are very interesting, to say the least, for this team in general, as well as, of course, a lot of things that really has to do with, of course, yes, we are going to talk about the Progresso news. We're not going to shy away from that in the slightest, because that's news that needs to be talked about. That's news that needs to be covered here. Of course, it's the RGV, but it's a big thing for Progresso, especially, and especially from really just opening up the doors, looking at everything that has really come up from that, including sanctions that have to do with, if I'm not mistaken, Brownfield Lopez too, because that's where, if I'm not mistaken, the old, which, like I mentioned, we'll read up on this, but the other athletic director, the former athletic director for Progresso, kind of came from, and so, or came to, in general. So yes, we are going to cover that because that's very important in general. We will, of course, congratulate the Carolina Hurricanes on winning the Stanley Cup. We will congratulate the New York Knicks on winning the NBA Finals over the San Antonio Spurs. But that's, of course, if we have time for all of that. There's big stories to really cover. There's big stories to talk about, and all of this. Of course, I always like to start off with talking about this one thing, not to mention what is going on this weekend. There was a lot of stuff that was canceled for or postponed for today. There was a lot of stuff that was canceled for yesterday in general here on Rio Sports Live Network, on RSLN to be exact. And that was, of course, the event coordinators in general not allowing for the events to happen, like the 7-on-7 in Harlingen yesterday that got postponed, that got canceled. The basketball stuff that's normally done for the Summer League, that was canceled, if I'm not mistaken, too. There was a lot of rain exactly for that to be the case. I'm looking at what is to be covered here for the rest of this week, just to make sure that I give you all the correct coverage here momentarily. And there it is. Okay, so this is the biggest thing that we really want to cover. Of course, postponed due to weather was Tuesday, the 16th of June. How about the 17th of June? We're still, of course, talking sports here. And then I believe that everything got moved to Thursday for the Sub-5A baseball and the All-Star softball game. Got moved to Thursday. Nothing still on Friday, as we've seen. Saturday still 7-on-7 state qualifiers. And why I say qualifiers with an S is because, as it stands, we will still be having Wildcat Stadium and Bobby Lackey Stadium covered for the 7-on-7 state qualifiers tournament. That should be very exciting. Let's read you the names of the teams, because teams are trying to still qualify. The biggest thing is there will be two teams qualifying from the Wesco East side and the Wesco High School side, a.k.a. Bobby Lackey side. Nicky Rowe will still trying to be qualified with Edinburgh Villa and San Benito, as well as Cherryland High School with Edinburgh. With, once again, those are the teams at Bobby Lackey. But at Wildcat Stadium, Wesco East will still be trying to qualify with Mission Vets. Edinburgh North will still be trying to qualify with McAllen Memorial. And of course, we mentioned Wesco East, we mentioned Edinburgh North, and we mentioned McAllen Memorial. Those are the teams in the Wildcat bracket. And of course, they'll meet up all the way to the final game. They might be played at the same time out. Potentially Bobby Lackey Stadium, but I don't see that happening as I see the one game staying at Wildcat Stadium, the other game staying at, of course, Bobby Lackey Stadium, with the teams that have to potentially travel over there. Of course, it was a lot different. It was kind of a little messy at the Sherryland High School qualifiers, but it was still really fun to go there and watch and see who would end up qualifying for state. The road, of course, to, if I'm not mistaken, College Station. Let me triple check that in the sense of where the state tournament is for 7-on-7 football state tournament location. I just wanted to make sure on that. And the official school-based Texas 7-on-7 state tournament takes place at the Veterans Park and Athletic Complex, 3101 Harvey Road, College Station, Texas. So indeed, it is in College Station. The road to College Station, of course, starts this weekend, or will end this weekend to be exact, with the final opportunities for these teams to be able to qualify. It's one of the bigger ones, but that's why teams try and qualify twice at least, is to have that opportunity to get to state. It should be very fun, should be very exciting this weekend. I should be on one of the calls for one of the sites this weekend, and it should be very, very exciting. We talked a little bit about it as well for the baseball side of things. And that is something that I've always enjoyed doing. I should be at one of them tomorrow, whether it's the softball or baseball, and that's what they talked about. Of course, we'll have that all really set in stone probably by tonight, just to make sure, because everything got postponed from today to tomorrow. And so that was something that I was aware of just because of the torrential rainfall, the little tropical depression that sort of happened in the Gulf that basically flooded from Harlingen to Wesco to even McAllen had some flooding as well. Not as bad, but we all know how bad it can get in Wesco. And so that's, of course, where most of these games are being held, are being played, is in Wesco High School, Wesco East High School. And then, of course, the football 7-on-7 this upcoming Saturday, which let me read you exactly the weather for this weekend, just in case anyone is wondering. For the rest of the week, Thursday is clear with 98-83 for a low. Friday, 96-81 for a low. Saturday, 22% chance of rain, 93-81. Will be mostly cloudy for the most part. Hopefully the clouds do come through just to cool down, just to cool off the day. 93 for high. It will most likely still be humid, pretty humid in general, but just to let you all know, that's what is expected. That's in Brownsville. As for, of course, Wesco, the Wesco weather. Just wanting to make sure what that will feel like this, of course, weekend. Thursday, 99-81. Friday, 95-81. And then Saturday, 92-81. So a little bit cooler with it saying overcast all day. Precipitation is 50% chance of rainfall in there. So there's a good chance that there might be some showers. But as long as there's no lightning, we should be able to cover the 7-on-7, especially the way that Bobby Lackey Stadium is and the way that we've been put. We have this little awning over, and we're able to kind of like shoot out of that. As long as the rain's not necessarily blowing at us, we should be able to bring you all of the coverage. It's just, of course, what I'm reading is the weather for the 10 days, basically. And so, of course, we'll get into the show here momentarily, but just wanted to let you all know on how this weather will be. Yes, indeed. Saturday, that's the biggest one, 94.81. Humid with a thunderstorm in parts of the area, cloudy in the morning, becoming breezy with times of clouds and sun in the afternoon. Real feel will be 105. 99 will be real feel in the shade. So that's what to that is what to expect this weekend if you're outside. Just take the precaution that you necessarily need to take. Okay, moving on. Talking about, once again, the RGV Red Crowns, because this is a necessary take in general, or unnecessary just talk about it in general. This is an interesting turn of events for the RGV Red Crowns coming into, of course, last week, the Wednesday and the Saturday match. The interesting part was their Saturday team got a full week's worth of rest before having to play against the RGV Red Crowns. We'll talk a little bit about that. Of course, Wednesday, though, the RGV Red Crowns got to play against Central Texas Coyotes FC. Central Texas Coyotes FC had come into Harlingen Field the first match of the season and ended up losing by a score of, I believe, 4 goals. So it was not a small feat in the slightest for the Red Crowns team to really defeat this side by that much at home. Coming onto the road, though, that was going to be interesting to see how this team was able to play. And sure enough, it was a very outstanding match that I'm very pleased about for the Red Crowns in general to really show up when they needed to show up. And that's exactly what we saw. So it was 4-0, of course. And then 5-0 final in the Red Crowns' favor. Johan Arevalo got the scoring started with Dylan. Johan again with another goal. And Johan and Dylan both got braces in that match, meaning they scored 2 goals each before Augustine finished off the scoring with the 5th goal. So it was very, very exciting for the team. And the Red Crowns, of course, were coming off of a victory. The only difference was they had Thursday to really recover for the same exact team. What I was expecting to see was potentially adding Isidro Martinez, was adding Sergio Davila to the lineup in general after that Austin match, but that's not what we got to see. That Saturday left a lot to be desired for, in my eyes, for the RGV Red Crowns. And, I mean, it's my take. I want to preface this. I know this team is young, but this team has so much talent, and with the experience of some of the players, that sometimes you would expect them to be just a little tougher, just a little better in certain circumstances late in the match. But again, this team is so young that you have to remember that, well, it's a league for clubs. It's not even USL League 2, or it's not even USL League 1, to be exact. And so, anyways, this was just how the team kind of played. And coming back, of course, very quickly from the rest, having to play against Capital City Soccer Club, or football club, the number 1 team in the conference. It was going to be a challenging match. The RGV Red Crowns felt like they were off on the back foot from the start of the match, not being able to control possession. Capital City were that good of being able to do exactly that, controlling possession, finding open opportunities to take strikes. They did. JC Alvarez got the nod to be the starting keeper. First goal happens for Capital City. It was an unfortunate giveaway by the Red Crowns near the final third. Dribbles it past, passes it, beautiful strike. Nothing J.C. Alvarez could really do. He was kind of blocked from the get-go on that strike anyways. 1-0. Cap City. Here's the interesting part, though. The Red Crowns seemed like they figured something out late in that first half as well. Being able to dribble, being able to have opportunities in on goal to, well, score. That was the biggest thing. The Red Crowns, though, in times like that, just sometimes couldn't get off the shots they wanted to. And I did notice from a couple of players, the biggest thing was that I wanted to see them take the strike. Take the strike. Instead, they try to pass for that final shot to get it closer. And that would be an easy takeaway for Capital City. And that was a very frustrating turn of events in that match for the first half in general. Late opportunity, free kick happens. I want to give you exactly the name of who ended up taking that free kick for the RGV Red Crowns. So here's what I had for the lineup very quickly. Just wanted to make sure that I would have the correct number who took the free kick. So I thought it was number 19 from the start who took the free kick. But anyways, just sails over the bar. So ends up being a goal kick. Into the first half, 1-0. Capital City lead. It wasn't the worst first half for the RGV Red Crowns. It was technically their worst first half of the season due to the fact that that was their first time being down 1-0 at halftime. Then that second half really came into play, and the Red Crowns seemed like they were able to kind of calm down. But that wasn't the key. That wasn't the case. Because, again, it was all Capital City with the possession and with the opportunities of shots on goal. And sure enough, they were able to find the back of the net for the second time that evening. It was halfway through that first, or halfway through the second half, to get that second goal. 2-0. The Red Crowns did find the back of the net late in that second half to make it 2-1, but it was just a little bit too late as the full-time whistle was blown. Capital City Soccer Club 2, RGV Red Crowns 1. How does that affect the table? It affects the table in this way. For the League for Clubs, the RGV Red Crowns still hold the second spot, but as it stands and as it looked like it, that was the match that clinched not the Red Crowns, but Capital City Soccer Club a playoff spot. So Capital City Soccer Club are locked in the playoffs. I believe the RGV Red Crowns, if they were to get a victory here this weekend over Austin United, that would put them at 16 points. They would also most likely be locked into the playoffs, depending on how Central Texas Coyotes FC did. That would eliminate, if I'm not mistaken, Austin United FC from playoff contention, as well as Brownsville, Texas Soccer Club. So the Red Crowns, if they were to be victorious, that would be a big lock in the playoffs. First three teams, I believe, make it into the playoffs. I could be wrong on that. I'll have to double check, but it really does help. Now the RGV Red Crowns still have a chance at first place with a victory, of course. Would put them at 16. Capital City Soccer Club have about the same matches played and will play a match this weekend. They play none other than a rival of FC Westlake at home. If FC Westlake can take care of business and win, it may halt the RGV Red Crowns from locking a playoff spot, but the RGV Red Crowns, of course, winning might do it either way. They control their own destiny in that realm of things. FC Westlake would be put, I believe, on 13 points. Yes, indeed. They would be put on 13 points. The Red Crowns would be put on 16. Capital City Soccer Club would stay at 18. That would be potentially the situation heading back home to Harlingen Field, to the nest for the Red Crowns. If the Red Crowns are put into that situation, they still have an opportunity at first place. The only reason why we're talking about the RGV Red Crowns getting first place is because I'd rather play a Central Texas Coyotes FC than play FC Westlake. And that's the truth. FC Westlake are technically the better side, but the Red Crowns, if they finish in second place, they would still get to host FC Westlake at home. Winning, not only making it to the playoffs, but winning the South Texas Conference, rightfully, advances them to play most likely in the Gulf Coast Conference, East Division or West Division, or however you'd want to put it. Anyways, that would be big, because then they most likely play a team in Louisiana. And that would be crazy, with a chance to potentially host. Not saying that would be a guarantee or given, but potentially to host. So this is a late stretch in general. Keys to victory for this weekend, before we move on to the next topic and we take a quick break, is, well, for the RGV Red Crowns this weekend, they've already defeated Austin United once before at home. This is on the road. They get the rest that they need. Every single player has to be a leader in that locker room this weekend, no matter what. In certain situations, like I saw at in the match, is players who were supposed to be the leaders felt like they got quiet. And it's unfortunate, but like I mentioned, this team is very young, so they have a lot of learning to do for that soccer IQ. And every single way that I look at it, it's only a positive with this loss. It's still a loss, and it still hurt the RGV Red Crowns. But if they take it correctly, this benefits this team. We're okay. We are beatable. How can we fix that from becoming unbeatable once again? And so it's a lot of work for this club to finish off the season on the positive of being undefeated, from Austin United on to, well, Brownsville, Texas Soccer Club. For the rest of this season, and I kid you not, the Red Crowns have Austin United FC, that's 3 points right there. Capital City FC, another 3 points. So that's 6. Then FC Westlake at home, that's 9. And Brownsville, Texas Soccer Club, that is 12. They have 12 points up for grabs. If they're able to win all of them, there is a good chance that they will win the South Texas Conference regular season and head into the playoffs looking pretty slick and pretty great in general. Keys to victory, like I mentioned, teams have to be leaders. They cannot afford to get any more suspensions in general with red cards. They have to stay out of trouble, have to stay out of yellow card accumulations, all that fun stuff. And if they do that with scoring more goals than the other team, should be in a good spot when they go back home to face off against Capital City FC. We'll be right back after this. Stay tuned.
No importa en cuál etapa de tu vida te encuentres, Texas Almus College está aquí para ayudarte a progresar. ya sea que estés empezando desde cero, cambiando de carrera o adquiriendo nuevas habilidades. TSC tiene programas accesibles diseñados para adaptarse a tus metas. Es hora de dar el siguiente paso. Piensa en grande, piensa claramente, piensa en TSC.
Time to take a new look, maybe your first look at Buick. If smart, hip, and affordable is for you, Buick's your brand. Fruia Buick, Brownsville, Texas.
100 years ago, in the heart of the Rio Grande Valley, a spark was born. From the first dreamers who stepped onto these grounds, Texas Southmost College has stood as a promise that determination can overcome any challenge. Join us as we honor our past, celebrate our present, and ignite the future together. Texas Southmost College, 100 years strong, and the next 100 begin with you.
I fell on a loose towel at the grocery store, and now they're saying it's my fault. Do you think you could help?
Of course I can help. You should be focused on feeling better.
Oh, thank you, Law Champ. Hey, do you think I can get a selfie?
Of course.
This is the island where even the grown-ups forget what day it is. South Padre is more than an island. It's the island.
At Tortilleria Ibañez, flavor starts fresh every day. Crispy flautas, homemade tamales, and our signature chicken salad, all made for you. Tortilleria Ibañez, tradition on every plate.
Back we go once again to hear from Luke Fruia Buick GMC and Cadillac. If you're in the market for a new car, come check them out here in Brownsville, Texas. Well, there's a lot to talk about, and there's a lot to discuss, and especially with this one in general. And here we go. Once again, I'm Jacob Young, RSL in here, and we are talking about the news that came out 2 days ago about the Red Ants of Progresso High School, especially for the soccer team. We all knew that this was going to happen. We didn't know when it was going to happen in general, due to the fact of this is an ongoing thing that happens around the UIL. But on top of that, it's happened more often than not with the Progresso Red Ants. So the UIL added 2 years of probation to Progresso High School, which is already 1 year into serving a 2-year probation for rule violations in 2025. That ruling came minutes before, of course, the Red Ants boys soccer team semifinal match against Toledo, which resulted in a Progresso forfeit. In addition to the school, the UIL served 4 Progresso coaches with public reprimands. Boys basketball head coach Raul Rivera, boys soccer head coach Damian Magalan, girls soccer head coach Eric Garcia, and former athletic director and boys cross country and track coach Ivan Gonzalez all received 2-year probations. The rulings all stem from a series of ineligible players either competing without a previous athletic participation form on file or due to a clerical error that led to a misclassification spanning from 2022 to 2025. Like I said, this hasn't been just from 1 year. This has been for multiple years ongoing. The UIL stated that any further violations will likely result in more severe penalties due to 2 straight years of Progresso High School facing punishment from the committee. Here's the thing. It's 2 straight years. I'm expecting a third. I am expecting it to be a lot worse for Progresso. Somehow, some way, they've gotten away with it. Because, from what I can tell, the probation means nothing. The soccer team was able to compete for the playoffs last year. The soccer team forfeited 4 games and still made it to the playoffs. On top of that, there's been nothing of sorts that I've seen that this is a bad punishment. You're supposed to be under probation to look out and say, okay, we actually need to change something. Progresso have not. And that was from Valley Central. There's nothing more to really add from their statement in general. And I'm just very curious on how this is truly going to kind of play. So, I just expect it. I expect a way to look into it, as in Progresso to try to find a way, a loophole back to the same thing that they've done. The same things that they've done for the last 5 years. Last 3 years, I should say. It's tough for me to give them the benefit of the doubt that they won't do it, because they've shown time and time again that they will try anything to win. And so, yeah, Progresso High School also received an additional 2 years of probation combined with sanctions already in place from a previous UIL ruling. The school now faces an extended probation period moving forward. One of the violations resulted in district forfeits. Yep, and the UIL indicated that any future violations could bring more severe penalties as Progresso enters 2026-27 school year under increased scrutiny. So, yeah, there's nothing more to add onto it. Even RSLN, of course. And like I mentioned, the probation, I thought, was supposed to halt them from playing in the playoffs in any other sport. But like I said, if they were already under that scrutiny a year ago, they made the playoffs in those sports. So therefore, doesn't seem like it's penalties. I don't know. It's a lot to really process in the sense of, will that do anything? Will that truly change the way that the Progresso Red Ants run things over there? It would be crazy to see it happen a third time. But the third time, I think, is finally actually barring them from playoffs for a couple of years. Remember, back in the day, and this is not even USL, or UIL, but we're talking about the NCAA back when the NCAA were high and mighty, before NIL, before any of this. And I bring this up for a perfect reason. Just hear me out on this whole entire rant, whole entire thing, I should say. There were self-violations that would be put out for, of course, recruiting violations, a lot like this, besides the transferring situation and all of that. The recruiting violations would stem from, paying players under the table. It happened a lot. Ole Miss, of course, this was a big one. They came out all of a sudden, because I remember this too. This is when Texas A&M joined the SEC. All of a sudden, Ole Miss became really good at the sport, at football. And everyone were saying, well, what? They won 7 games a season ago, or barely made a bowl game a season ago, and all of a sudden they were in the hunt to be 10-2. Something fishy is going on. Sure enough, 3 years later, It comes out that Ole Miss and their whole entire board comes out, and the NCAA did do an investigation on them and came out with a ton of things, and basically it was almost like the death penalty for this team. Miami, the famous story for them, Miami, Florida University, coming out with the death penalty because they kind of did the same thing. They had those types of teams. They had those types of players. It's just, that's what I think of when I hear about sanctions. And then I read these and I say to myself, are they really penalties? Because they've been put on probation for, again, another 2 years. They're on probation for at least 3 more years. Yet I guess the team can make the playoffs. It's interesting to me. Because that's what happened last year. If they were under scrutiny then they can make the playoffs. Anyways, that's all on that note. We'll take a quick break. When we return, we will talk a little bit of college baseball. We'll tell you about the semifinal teams and all that fun stuff. We'll be right back after this. Stay tuned.
It means a lot to me. TSC has changed me to make me realize that I can accomplish things. Just don't give up. I've come a long way from where I was to what I am now, and there's no limit to where I'm going.
Give your little one the best start at Brownsville ISD's Pre-K3 and Pre-K4 programs. At BISD, 3 and 4-year-olds develop fundamental skills that pave the way to lifelong success. With quality educators, access to the latest technology, and free nutritious meals to fuel the day, our young minds explore and learn in exciting new ways. Enroll your 3 and 4-year-old today at Brownsville ISD, the best choice.
Kenny Perez came from a small town in Texas. At Kenny Perez Law, we won't stop fighting until our clients get what's rightfully theirs. We're right by your side, no matter what. Call Kenny Perez Injury Lawyers today, 956-999-1111.
The standard of excellence has always been Cadillac, so be iconic and drive one. Fruia Cadillac, Brownsville, Texas.
Back live, we go once again to hear from Luke Fruia, Buick GMC and Cadillac. If you're in the market for a new car, come check them out. Once again, I'm Jacob Young. This is RSLN, Real Sports Live Network. Time to talk a little college baseball. One of the final times that we'll be able to talk about college baseball is, I believe, the 3-game series is this weekend, so the semifinals will be played very soon. Let me take a quick little look to tell you all exactly what the college baseball schedule looks like for the rest of the season. College baseball bracket, to be exact, we already know the teams that are your semifinalists. Let me tell you exactly who those teams are as we get set for it. It's West Virginia and UNC. West Virginia, of course, with one loss, they have to defeat UNC twice in order to advance to the championship. Georgia has one loss with Oklahoma. No losses. Georgia has to defeat Oklahoma twice. The last time that those two teams played against each other. It's the reason why Georgia's in the losers bracket. Alabama, of course, ended up getting eliminated against Oklahoma. Texas got eliminated against Georgia as well. So, or check that. Texas, I believe, defeated Alabama. Either way, Texas is also eliminated. Alabama's eliminated, and it's Georgia and Oklahoma playing against each other. Georgia has to defeat Oklahoma twice, and UNC has to defeat West Virginia once in order to advance, but West Virginia has to defeat UNC twice. They might have their game on right now. Let me just double check just in case they do. I can give you a live updated score for that game. Particularly, yes, indeed. They have been playing right now, and this is very interesting because it seems late in the broadcast. So if it's a little late in the broadcast, we can give you, of course, that updated score line. North Carolina are up on West Virginia 8-1. Looks like they are most likely going to go to that championship, but it's only in the bottom of the fourth inning. But if West Virginia cannot get their bats going, unfortunately, West Virginia will be the next team eliminated. And we'll wait and see. Of course, tonight most likely is that game number 2. Game number 2, of course, being Oklahoma getting to play against Georgia. So that'll be a fun, of course, championship if it does, in fact, end up being Oklahoma versus versus North Carolina. It'll make us Aggie fans just feel a little more upset, considering that was how close Texas A&M was from going to Omaha, and then, of course, all of that. So, going back to this now, of course, as we mentioned it, prediction for that, yes, indeed. Right now with that score line, it's most likely going to be North Carolina, and then I still would see Oklahoma making it to the final, but Georgia, of course, played a difficult Texas team the night before to get to a chance at surviving, only winning 2-0. Their bats didn't necessarily get going, but it was very much exciting. 2-0 final, Georgia over Texas, which was very exciting for that one. As for the West Virginia Mountaineers, winning 12-0 over the Troy Trojans. The Troy Trojans were a shocking team because they made it further than anyone really expected them to. It starts off with 8 teams in Omaha. Troy made it through that first little line to stay out of or even when they got put in the losers bracket, to stay out of elimination, they eliminated a team. And so that was crazy in itself. So very, very exciting team in general. And the Troy Trojans, of course, what a season. They'll remember that for the rest of every single player will remember that for the rest of their lives. They're not supposed to be a team out of a non-power 4 conference to be that good in general. So yeah, very, very exciting once again. Moving on, of course. The West Virginia Mountaineers did a great job in the Big 12 season and making it past all of that. Just made it work in the end. This is going to be a fun final this weekend, whoever it may be, Oklahoma or Georgia, with North Carolina most likely making it with their 8-1 lead right now over the West Virginia Mountaineers. But again, let's move on, because we got some soccer to talk about. The World Cup officially started this past week, and boy, has it been exciting. The World Cup has been outstanding so far. We've had ourselves some upsets. We've had some draws not too long before this show started. The Republic of Congo are playing against Portugal and drew Portugal 1-1. That was a big, big match a day ago. Check that. 2 days ago, Monday, we had the biggest upset in all of soccer in the World Cup. Cabo Verde, a.k.a. Let me make sure. I believe I said it correctly. Yes, indeed. Cape Verde, Cabo Verde. We're playing against Spain, a favorite in the World Cup. Not to mention that Portugal are somehow a favorite as well. But it was the biggest upset. Cape Verde is currently ranked the 67th in the FIFA Men's World Ranking as of June of 2026. Well, they're going to move up in the world rankings for sure, because holding number 2 Spain to a scoreless draw in the World Cup debut, in their World Cup debut, is insane. Getting a point in a group that, well, for them is a group of death. As for France, France were able to defeat Senegal 3-1 in a crazy turn of events yesterday. Messi, of course, for Argentina, getting the hat trick, his well-deserved hat trick that he got last night. Absolutely impressive. And then Cristiano Ronaldo here today, and for Portugal, really didn't do that much. And all of a sudden, that's a draw against the Republic of Congo. The Republic of Congo is not that better in the FIFA rankings. For the Republic of Congo FIFA rankings for soccer, 43rd. So they are a bit better. But compared to, with the full men's FIFA ranking, it puts Portugal in 7. 1-1 was the final score. Absolutely amazing. Just about every group has been played. Has played at least their first match. So the FIFA World Cup, of course, brackets really quickly. I just want to go through the standings very quickly. Right now in Group A, Mexico lead over South Korea and Czechia and South Africa in Group A. Group B is Switzerland, Canada, Qatar, and Bosnia. Then they have officially played their first matches, and everybody drew their first games. Scotland, Morocco, Brazil, and Haiti played. And everyone has so like I mentioned, it's been a very exciting World Cup, and the expansion of the World Cup was very negatively thought of, including for myself. You bring up 43 plus teams instead of the classic, whatever it was before, 32 or 36. And the expansion of it for myself as well, because I know just right off the bat, the CONCACAF, you have teams like Cape Verde, you have teams like the Dominican Republic, Haiti, you have teams like Jamaica, who normally actually make the World Cup, in general, Honduras, all these teams, but a lot of the smaller islands, the island nations that don't normally get a chance, you don't actually truly know how good they are because they always get outshined by the teams that have the facilities, have things to make their World Cup every single time that it comes around. So you didn't know how these teams were going to react, how these teams were going to play. And sure enough, the first timers have looked really good. Group D, of course, USA played against Paraguay in the first match. I was a person that was very, very nervous for this match in general because the U.S. men's national team had looked so bad for so long, even in their group stage matches, or even in their friendlies, to be exact, before the group stage. This was key. And the U.S. men's national team, very early on, looked great against Paraguay. Scored their first goal. Absolutely phenomenal. Absolutely fantastic. 1-0. Was Florian Bulligan as well. Then how about goal number 2? Then how about goal number 3 and 4? This was a team. Gio Reyna scores the 4th goal, to be exact. U.S. men's national team gave up 1 goal, which was interesting. They took out Christian Pulisic. This is one thing that the team's a little scared of, but this is a very, very long break for one match to the next because of the extended, of course, groups and all of that, because we're technically up to, just trying to make sure which group that we are up to here. Group H and Group I are finished for the first matches. Group J is done. Group K is the one that is going on right now, and the Republic of Congo tied Portugal. Then they'll start up Group L before going back to Group I or Group K and then Group L again. Is England and Croatia for the first match here this afternoon. We'll probably start right out after the show, so that's going to be very exciting. And all of this, and that's the final 2 groups. Before we restart, Thursday, of course, tomorrow brings back Group A with the biggest match being Mexico-South Korea. That's going to be very fun. A draw would help both teams out tremendously, but a win for South Korea would be absolutely insane, and they would automatically advance to the round of 32. Not the round of 16, not that knockout stage that we're all used to saying. It's a round of 32. Mexico, of course, would have to kind of fight with their final match against Czechia, depending on how, of course, Czechia and South Africa do play. And if one of them do get a victory all of a sudden, could potentially put Mexico on the back foot. They should still make it out of their group easily. They're supposed to top the group. There's a chance they don't top the group with South Korea if South Korea do defeat Mexico here tomorrow at 8 p.m. Central Time. That is a possibility indeed. That's going to be a very fun Group A. So we'll wait and see, of course, how that happens. Group D, once again, will be USA. They'll take on Australia at 2 p.m. on Friday. Should be a phenomenal matchup for USA and Australia. And hopefully that the U.S. men's national team are able to defeat Australia and advance to the group, to the round of 32. So we will go back to this as well. Really quickly, of course, as it's 2:54 p.m. here, is so this is kind of a big thing in general, and I want to, of course, we're here at Luke Fruia, Buick, GMC, and Cadillac. So this was pretty interesting in general. Cadillac, of course, in the 24 hours of Le Mans was something absolutely that we did not expect to see. The 2000 is that Cadillac were able to get pole, but then got that stripped away from them in general. And then all this is in the hypercar class, to be exact. And Cadillac were able to kind of dominate in general, even during the race for the most part, still leading, still leading, still leading. Sometimes it would be Toyota, sometimes it would be BMW. For the most part, it was Cadillac really in control, even with the full course yellows that happened. This was a major thing. Cadillac seemed like they were going to be on the front foot to win the whole 24 hours of Le Mans. All of a sudden, a while later, they decided to kind of stay out a little bit longer, and Toyota kind of took advantage of something that I kind of missed while I was sleeping. And then all of a sudden, Toyota took the lead. Toyota were in full control. And Toyota, this was the biggest thing that I saw, is that, well, that team just were able to be victorious. And sure enough, Toyota wins the whole 24 hours. The biggest thing was, though, that once again, BMW finished second on the podium to Toyota. The last 5 years for really the last 5 years for the Le Mans 24 hours overall winners. Le Mans 24 hours overall winners have been really Toyota to Ferrari. There hasn't really been any in between. It's been either Toyota, Ferrari. It used to be Audi for a while. But let's go back to this very quickly. All the way down to the last, really since 2020. Let's go with that. In 2020 it was, back before LMP1 went to Hypercar. Still Toyota Gazoo Racing in LMP1. Then it went to Hypercar. It was Toyota Gazoo Racing going back to back to back. Really back to back to back to back to back to back. Last time that Toyota Gazoo Racing had lost before then was to Porsche LMP team in 2017. And that was a crazy one in general, where they should have won that race too. But then in 2023, Antonio Giovinazzi and the Italian Ferrari AF Corsa were able to win the Hypercar Challenge, or Hypercar in 2023. How about 2024 with the Hypercar of Ferrari AF Corsa and then AF Corsa Italia for the Hypercar class in 2025. So it was 3 straight wins for Ferrari on the top step of the podium in the top class, even in that 2025. In 2026, though, it was different. Mike Conway, Kamui Kobayashi, and Nick DeVries were the ones that were victorious in the end for Toyota Racing. Not Gazoo Racing, but Toyota Racing in general, Japan. And that was a massive victory for themselves. And it really showed how that kind of went. So a fantastic job, a great job for them. And Cadillac ended up finishing well in the 24 hours of Le Mans. Next up is the 6 hours of beautiful Watkins Glen in IMSA. The Cadillac have been known to do well there, as well as, of course, Acura, as well as even BMW. It's always a toss-up in the hypercar class for that race. It's now going to be GT Grand Tour prototype, to be exact. So, very exciting, but that is how we are going to sign off on our show. I've been Jacob Young. This has been a Rio Sports Live presentation. And until next time, we will see you all very, very soon. Thank you all so very much for watching. And, well, look forward to seeing you all very soon once again. Just waiting for it to be officially at 3 p.m. here. I thought that it was sooner, but it looks like actually we're a minute ahead. So, once again, check the social media page for the sports this weekend. But until then, I've been Jacob Young. This has been a Rio Sports Live